Alright, there we go. Just had to alert the Discord that I'm currently live on the new night, which is Fridays now, because like 50% of the people that, you know, checked out the poll from the community page on my YouTube channel said, like, hey, let's do Friday nights at 10. Well, not really at 10, but that's the time I picked because that's when I could fit it in. You know, I got a whole bunch of other stuff going on Friday nights too, and figured might as well. Let's throw on doing the live stream too. That way my Saturdays are free because I usually do family stuff on Saturday nights, so that will free up a whole bunch of stuff. But if something happens to change in the future, I will probably do Saturday nights on the occasion that I am unable to do it Friday nights. And let's see here. What is going on? Well, first of all, let me switch to the live scene, and then we can get going on these monsters. Currently, I am working on a few things. Let's see. The first one is fleshing out the encounter builder even further. It's had a couple revisions here since the last time. Hey, Clorox, how's it going, buddy? Good to see you. Let's see here. The encounter builder has had the suggested CR range added in. And let's see here. Added some more charts, moved some stuff around, and I'm still tweaking some things because I've seen a couple errors pop up here and there, so I've had to update my code and the equations and whatnot in the background. So I've been working on that, getting that going. And I'm working on a actual full-length video, which I'm going to do like from a slides presentation rather than technically creating a video. So that one's going to be based off of encounter builders as well, called Encounter Building Sucks. So that'll be a video eventually. I don't know how long it's going to be. It might be a two-parter, depending on how long I just yammer on for no darn reason. And let's see here. You guys get a little sneak peek as to what's going on in this video once I get my slideshow all put together. So that one will be a video, like I said, at some point. And then, what else? Still working on the CR comparison videos of, like, you know, fixing monsters and whatnot. I've been waiting on my brother to get back to me because I've been working with him a little bit here and there on that. And starting to flesh out the details for potentially doing some live streaming as well. I've got some stuff I got to work on for that, a whole bunch of stuff, so that should be getting together at some point soon. And maybe even some ideas for possibly throwing some podcasts together, maybe like once a month, getting that back up and going. I don't know. That one's a newer idea and something that kind of came across when I was looking at Bob World Builder's video or post about certain things. I was like, oh, people had some interesting ideas that they were throwing out. So I was thinking about maybe jumping on that, depending on what Bob doesn't use. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I also had fun last time we did the live stream too. We had the whole monster variations and seeing how, you know, special equipment kind of changed stuff. So I'm going to eventually put out a video for that as well, of how the, you know, just looking at a weapon, we can potentially gauge how it could, you know, actually modify the monster or player for that matter. Yes, yeah, definitely, Clorox. Looking forward to also bringing them to the channel as well and getting some other things going up and out there. So there's lots of stuff going on in the background, but with work and getting other people in the mix and trying to make some stuff unique and interesting versus other, like with a live stream, how there's plenty of other people doing D&D live streams and podcasts and whatnot. Trying to make mine a little more unique, something that maybe we haven't seen in the scene yet. So we'll see how that goes. What monster was this that I was looking at? Something CR9. Oh, yeah. I was looking over an adult blue dragon and thinking about what happens to the adult blue dragon if it gets surprised. And sure enough, with round 1 being a 0, the adult blue dragon's a CR9 as it's supposed to be printed. and it's what, like a CR 12 when it's not. So I was trying to make a point. I left a comment on Treant Monk's Temple. Treant Monk's Temple? Yeah, his channel there about what happens with, it was the one about Pass Without Trace and Sneak and what have you. So I was just having a little bit of fun with that and put out the whole thing about, oh, goblins, when they miss their first round, they go from a CR 1/4 to a CR 1/8, and seeing how that looked for other monsters as well. And sure enough, you know, the adult blue dragon, which, let me see, what did I originally find it at? Or young blue dragon, not adult. The young blue dragon I found to be CR 10. It's supposed to be a 9. So it dropped one CR by missing the first round of combat, being surprised. So that might be a very common factor of what happens to monsters technically in the first round if they get surprised attacked. It looks like their CR may drop down by 1. But, you know, it makes the monster easier, and it's a bonus for the players to think strategically that way of, you know, stealthing around and trying to get that surprise round, which doesn't always happen. Anyways, let's move on with this. We've got a big old beefy monster here from Clawpaw, the I practiced this as well. Mizutsune, large dragon. Is this another Elden Ring conversion, Clawpaw? Or is this something you just threw together for the fun of it? And while I'm waiting for that, let me reset this tool. Oh, I haven't heard of Indestructible or Dungeon Dad. These two are on, those two are on YouTube there, Clorox. I actually just found a new channel, Crow Maps or something like that. Let me see what's going on. Let me go to my YouTube. And let's see here. Yeah, Map Crow. I just found this one person, Map Crow, and watched one or two of his videos today about dungeons and whatnot. They were pretty interesting. You can see some of the other videos I've been watching based on like gardening and, you know, Super Auto Pets and even maybe a Legos thing. Okay. Clawpaw. Yes, it's from Monster Hunter. Okay. And Monster Hunter 3, a fan favorite with an amazing theme. Cool. All right. Well, then let's see how Mizutsune works out. All right. So we've reset some stuff. But for some reason, we have a CR8 going on? Why? Or DCR8? Why is that happening right now? The effective hit points. I wonder if this is a weird bug going on again. Alright, let me do a cache refresh and see if that fixes it. Okay, there we go. I've had that happen once before where it got stuck. The DCR got stuck. That's really strange. Anyways, Mizutsune. We have 22 AC, a large dragon, which is not that big, actually, when you think about it. Well, it's only a little bit bigger than a medium humanoid, so kind of small, technically, but that doesn't really matter. What else we got here? Both are great content creators. Indestructible is really all about homebrewing classes and having things in that vein. Dungeon Dad does monster conversions from old editions every week. Oh, that's cool. Oh, that's really awesome. It's good, big, but pretty small in comparison. Yeah, I noticed having it as a large dragon that's technically smaller than some of the other dragons. But, hey, whatever, man. It works. Let's see here. So, we have... What have we got? Where did I leave off? Hit dice. 25 hit dice. And we have the following stats of 20, 16, 25, 17, 24, and 22. Okay. Should be a CR 20. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 saving throws. Okay. Almost all of them. We were just missing strength, I think. Yeah, it looks like we're missing strength. That's funny. We have 1 vulnerability to lightning, which is surprising because it looks like it would give off lightning with those kinds of scales and whatnot. Then we have damage resistance, but that's not going to do anything for us since it's over CR 16. At this point, it's just a 1 times the hit point bonus. We don't get anything from that, but we do have damage immunities for acid, cold, poison, and thunder. So we will get an extra 25% bonus from that, and then we'll check afterwards to see what happens once we bypass that, because our players are going to have magical weapons and probably have added, like, oh, maybe they have fire. I don't know. But then again, the fire is also a resistance, so we'd have half fire damage, or maybe it's something else. I don't know. In any event, let's move on and get into the beefy section of this monster. So we have legendary resistance, 3 per day. And we'll pop that on for 90 effective hit points. And then we have magic weapons. They don't matter. Aberrant ground. Makes difficult terrain. Saving throws. Speed's reduced to 0 until the start of its next turn and falls prone. I wonder if there's anything for aberrant ground in the DMG about that. Let me double check something real quick. Oh, sure. Of course, it's not going to be here. Crud. Do I have the DMG loaded up? Dungeon Master's Guide. Okay, there we go. So I need to go to 279 roughly, I think. Okay. And let's see, what do we have? Do we have aberrant ground? No, we don't. I thought we had something similar to that in here, but I'm not seeing it. So we have a 10-foot radius around the monster's difficult terrain. I don't really think that's going to make much of an impact on the monster. I mean, technically, since it does reduce the speed to 0, that's almost like a grapple. And if we look at constrict, increases the monster's effectiveness by 1. Let's see here. What was constrict again? That's the giant constrictor snake. So the giant constrictor snake grapples and all right. So grapple, yeah, grapple does reduce a creature's speed to 0. So technically, this does grapple. So we could say aberrant ground would give us maybe +1 AC bonus. So I'm going to go with that for aberrant ground, since we do have the chance to turn monsters' speed to 0 here. So we'll throw on a constrict for that. And what else? The prone part has advantage, I'd say. But yeah, that's why I gave it to you, for being handled. Very true. Let's see, what else do we have here? Freedom of movement. The monster ignores difficult terrain. Okay, that's cool. We won't have to worry about that. Petrifying gaze. Oh, I see. That's why that came up in chat there on the Discord. Or no, someone was asking me about that in YouTube comments. That's really funny. Okay, so petrifying gaze. This is, let's see here. On a failed save, the magic turns to stone and restrained. So what I had said on the YouTube comment about this, because someone also asked about this, was that when I see petrifying gaze, I would say initially it would be an AC bonus because it restricts movement. And then after that, once a creature turns to stone, it's basically pulling them completely out of combat unless there is a way for players to heal them immediately. So while Petrifying Gaze may initially give an AC bonus, I would then say it makes the difficulty encounter jump up incredibly high, because if, let's say, yeah, let's go to the encounter builder real quick. And let's say we have a few PCs that are fighting this CR20 dragon on their own. So we've got, what do we have? We got 4 players at, we'll say, level 15, right? So we have a converted CR 45, and we have 1 monster at CR 20. Okay, so right now, our total player CR is roughly 45 versus the 1 monster at CR 20. So we still have a room for 25 CR to make this a deadly encounter. So at the moment, this is probably an easy combat. But if the dragon gets off the petrifying gaze on at least 1 target, let's switch this, and we now have petrified 1. Well, that drops it down to 33.75 total CR. And then we're getting much closer. So if we had filled out that extra, what was it, 25 with other monsters, we are now, what, 12 and a quarter over into the deadly zone. And let's say we somehow happen to catch two players. So 4 players now becomes 2 that can actually fight in combat. Now we're at a CR of 22.5. And now the dragon is at a hard encounter because these 2 level 15 players have to fight on their own. Oh, okay, cool, Clawpaw. The whole thing with the petrifying being an addition. Nice. So, I would say Petrifying Gaze doesn't really affect the monster itself, but more affects the combat encounter. So, if, again, we had filled out all of the CR up to 45 and we had a whole bunch of other monsters, now it goes from being deadly and definitely hitting the absurd range, like we see down here of over 150% of the CR. In this case, it'd basically be doubled anyways. So, Petrifying Gaze just makes the encounter harder, in my opinion. All right. And then, let me keep that over here. Then we move down to Wounded Fury. While it has 100 hit points or fewer, the monster has advantage on attack rolls. In addition, it deals an extra 14 damage to any target it hits with a melee weapon. So this is going to be added damage on, and we could say maybe we'd start to see this in round 3 of combat. If anything, I would say round 3. So for the 1 attack bonus on Wounded Fury, I'd say, sure, let's give it +1 there. So we'll go and say, 1 for now. And then on top of that, we would add in 14 for the last little bits of combat here. So let's just put that here for the time being, and we will add that in later on if need be. Then we have Outsized Strength. While grappling, the monster is considered to be 1 size larger. Okay, doesn't really matter for CR calculations. Soapskin. A creature that grapples the monster or otherwise comes into direct contact with the monster's skin must make a DC save or become covered in soap for 1 minute. While a soaped creature moves 10 feet or more, it must make a dex save or fall prone and has its movement reduced to 0 until the start. Oh, so this is what you were talking about, Clawpaw. Okay. So from there, soaped creature no longer in direct contact with the monster can repeat the saving throw at the end of its turn, ending the effects on itself on a success. So either way, I would say with the soapskin or the aberrant ground, we would still see the 1 effective AC. I'm not really going to double up on these because one may, we might get 1 here and then save on the other, or we would save on this and not save on that. So I'd say we'd just keep it at the +1 for now. That's really funny. It's just a big old soap monster. I haven't played any of the Monster Hunters, unfortunately. I've seen some video plays of it, and it just looks silly. Like, in a good way. Silly fun, Yeah, very clean twagon. Nice. So I would say Soapskin and Aberrant Ground would basically play off of each other, since there's 2 chances to get maybe 1 to 2 targets into that +1 AC bonus there. So I'm going to skip over that for now. Slippery Scales. A creature attacking with a weapon that would deal bludgeoning damage has disadvantage on their attack rolls. That's funny. When I think of that, okay. I guess that's something that it does it in the game, because to me, I would think it would have a wider surface area to hit, so it would be easier. And maybe a sword would actually, a slicing sword or something would have disadvantage because it could be easier to hit at a weird angle. But whichever. And the funny thing is when I was thinking of something like this where it gives disadvantage, I was thinking of Stench. And Stench from the Troglodyte gives the poisoned condition. And that gives, the poison condition gives players disadvantage on their attack rolls. So what happens when we use Stench? We actually get the reverse. We get an AC bonus. So in theory, anyone wielding a bludgeoning weapon here is giving the dragon here a +1 effective AC bonus by giving the attacker a disadvantage on the attack. Hey, Hong Kong, thanks for joining up, bud. I remember you saying it's like a 12-hour difference, so it's like 10 a.m. Saturday for you right now. Does that mean you are somewhere like probably around Japan or like East Asia area? I thought of it when you try to punch it, it slides off, you know. And definitely, for sure, Clawpaw. But either or, it's perfectly fine. And then we have Watery Advantage. While submerged in liquid, the monster has advantage on attack rolls. Okay, so we would expect the monster to always be submerged then to get that advantage off, which means we could give it Blood Frenzy and the +4 attack bonus. Ah, yes, over in Asia. Perfect. That's what I figured. I had talked to some people for a while over in Japan and China for some time when I was younger, and had to remember the 12 to 13 hour time difference depending on what, you know, when it was here. That's cool. Thanks for joining, and hopefully you're having a fantastic Saturday so far. Which is pretty fun, cause... okay. Continue that thought, Clawpaw. I kind of lost track of what I was saying. So after Watery Advantage, we have Amphibious. That doesn't matter. Water Susceptibility. For every 5 feet the monster moves in water. It takes 5 cold damage, but also has damage absorption. Whenever the monster is subjected to cold or acid damage, it takes no damage instead and regains a number of hit points equal to the damage. So we are, in a roundabout way, gaining 5 regen every turn from water susceptibility and then damage absorption. Oh no. Well, yeah, I know how that can go, Hong Kong. I've done similar. But thanks for joining. It's a shame you have to work on the Saturday though. It just states liquid, which is technically speaking could be stuff like milk, spit, or even molten rocks, iron. Very true. Okay. Oh, yeah, you're right, right. Submerged in any liquid. Gotcha, okay. Yeah, I mean, that would be interesting. Being submerged in lava, it is technically a liquid. The Giga Chat. So I'm going to say we're going to get a little bit of regen here for this monster. Oh boy, wow. Hopefully you're getting paid good for that amount of work, bud. Okay. So we've kind of dealt with the damage absorption and the water susceptibility, and then we have Discern Lie. The monster knows when she hears a creature speak a lie in a language she knows. Cool. Doesn't really help us for CR, so we can skip past that. So now let's move into the action sections, and we got some interesting stuff here with the Bubble Breath, which I saw before. But let's see here. What was it? Mizutsune makes 3 attacks, 1 with its bite, 1 with its claw, and 1 hydro pump attack, and uses its enchanting presence. Okay, so we have 1 of each of these attacks, and it's what, a +14? So a 14, that would be 6 here, and we're looking at, we need a 8? How are we getting the 14 to hit? Because we should have, let's see here, like I said, we have a 6. If we're using strength to make attacks, then it would be 11, and if we're using our wisdom somehow, then that would be 13. I think you're, oh, did I mix that up? I must have mishit. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Clawpaw. All right, perfect. So it's coming from dexterity. Thank you. I just want to make sure. Oh, okay. Just a quick typo. Cool, thanks. All right, so we do have the 14 there. Perfect. And then we have, let's see. So our bite is 19 piercing plus 11 acid damage. Okay. And the claw is, let's see, just a straight up 21.5. The target is also then hurled 15 feet away. And the hydro pump. Now the hydro pump, I would think, would hurl the target 15 feet away. Because when I think of hydro pump, I think of this old movie with Weird Al Yankovic, VHS, I think, or UHF? No, UHF. There we go. And there's this scene with the guy that plays Kramer from Seinfeld, and he comes out and he's like, you want to drink from the fire hose, Billy, or something? And the kid just gets blasted in the face with a fire pump, engine here. Let me see here. UHF. Yeah, that's basically it right here. Pretty sure that's the dude that played Kramer. Anyways, in any event, just some funny stuff. Good, funny movie if you ever looking for an old like 80s video to watch. Okay. Then we got the hydro pump. The hydro pump is 4d6 plus 8. Is that right? Okay. Hydro pump's a little off there, Clawpaw. Can we get that if we do 5d6? 6. If we do 68, we can get to 29, but not 30. Curious. We'll go with the 30 just for the time being, since that's what you printed. And we'll have that set up. And then we have Enchanting Presence. Any creature, let's see here, of a different species that starts its turn within 60 feet of the monster must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the creature is charmed by the monster for 1 minute. On a successful save, the creature becomes immune to any other monsters with Enchanting Presence. Okay. Whoops, I messed up math. Tee. Yeah, that's all right. So is it supposed to be 30 or should it be the 22 that we found up here? And while I'm waiting on that answer, let me see about Charm Person. Okay, so we have a Charm Person from Enchanting Presence. So we'll just do 11 effective DPR there, which works out to 27, and we'll add that in here. So we'll do that, 27. So we're looking at an extra 27 potentially every round that we charm a person. Okay, so we'll keep it at 30. Perfect, thank you, Clawpaw. And then after that, we also have Bubble Breath, recharging on a 4 to 6, so we have a 50% chance of using this. And Mitsuzune exhales bubbles. It on average exhales 6 bubbles, and can choose from the following. People heal. Creatures can heal 3d6 plus 6 hit points and be covered in soap. Or we can get expanded crit range. Blue bubbles will deal cold damage. Pink bubbles take 5 acid damage, are poisoned, lose their lowest available spell slot if available, and are covered in soap. Wow, that is a lot. Holy cow. And lose a spell slot. Gray bubble. If a creature has touched this bubble and is targeted by Mitsuzune, Petrifying Gaze, the creature has disadvantage on the saving throw and turns to stone after just 1 failed save and is covered in soap. Okay. Well then. What are we getting the most out of this here? It can choose what color soap balls they have. They disappear when hit by an attack. So, in theory, let's go with the highest let's go with the highest damaging thing here. And we'll use that as a gauge. And anything else may or may not be as prevalent or potent. May not be as potent. We'll go with that. So let's go with the bubbles here. Oops. What did I just do? All right, so we'll say 14 for the bubbles. Yeah, you are getting violently cleaned. That's really funny. All right, so it looks like with the bubbles, I may not use this unless I absolutely wanted some kind of condition. Because we do have the 60-foot wide arc here of the cone attack. So the bubble breath would be a secondary thing, sadly. So I'm gonna skip over those and not worry about that, and just go with the flat right here for Mizutsune and see how it works out. And we have a whole series of attacks that we can do on the last round of combat, so we'll add those in for round 3. And then we have a bonus action. So let's see here. Touches one of the soap bubbles. It can use its bonus action to move an additional 10 feet. Alright, so we're going to skip over that because I'm not too worried about the soap bubbles. Unless it comes up here, which it does. Okay. So we have 4 legendary actions. I got to try to remember that. The first one is Detect. Not concerned about that. Slide. Dragon moves up to its movement speed and does not provoke attacks of opportunity. That's cool. Cleanse. Heals itself from all conditions. Okay. Makes a claw attack or does the bubble breath for 3. So out of everything, I'm just going to use the claw attacks to see what we get here. So the claw was what? The second attack. Okay. And we can do that 4 times. So we're getting a total here of 86 for that. And it looks like, what was that? Wounded Fury will stack with that as well. On round 3, we can also add that in for an additional 4 there. So, ooh, this is going to be one beefy attack. So let's add that in just so I don't have to worry about it later. Plus, let's see here, this times 3. And then also this plus the 14 bonus times 4 for 4 extra attacks there. Okay, so that'll be on round 4 or round 3. And then what else we have? Lair actions, which I'm not going to worry about right now for the lair actions. I'm going to just see how this monster looks, and then we can add in the lair actions as well. Okay, so rounds 1 and 2, we're going to say, you know, just the multi-attacks and the legendary actions for the time being. So we got that there. And then we will use the beefed up attacks here with the Wounded Fury. Because by then, potentially, we would be seeing 100. You know, I could easily see a group of 4 doing close to 100 damage in one round. So we could easily get to 100 or less by round 3 at some point. Okay, so we're looking at a CR28 base right now. If we don't have any immunities, if we bypass that, that drops it down to 27. So let's put that back in. Oops, I don't know how that happened. Okay, and let's see here. If we're not in water and we take out the Blood Frenzy, if we can draw the dragon out, it only brings it down from a 28 to a 27, which is pretty surprising. Yeah, so CR28 so far, looks like. Let's see, what do we have for the lair actions here? The fungi at the room walls puff out dangerous spores. Each creature in the rooms must make a Constitution saving throw, taking some poison damage. Creature fails the saving throw by 3 or more, it is poisoned. The creature also fails the saving throw by 5 or more, it is stunned. Ooh. If the creature fails by 10 or more, it's paralyzed and takes an additional 17 necrotic. Okay, so let's go with the 17 necrotic and see what happens here. Yeah, that's okay. Oh yeah. Let's see what happens here. Actually, if we don't have the dragon wounded by round 3, and if the dragon is still not wounded, only a 27, so it's not a big difference. At base, we're looking at CR 27, maybe 26 if we don't have immunities as well. So yeah, I would say with immunities bypassed, immunities resistances bypassed, and we haven't wounded the dragon yet, we're looking at minimum 26, probably 25 if we can get it out of, 25 if we can get it out of the water or some kind of liquid as well. So bare minimum, if the players are thinking extremely strategically, we have a CR 25. Okay, back to 28. Let's look at legendary actions here. Again, we were going to do... So we have 17.5 poison damage. If this is worst case scenarios for the players, times 2 for 2 times the necrotic damage, or 1 necrotic and 1 poison, doesn't really matter, and times 2 targets. So we would have 70 damage there. Then we could also do a cloud of mist swirls around the room, and the cloud spreads around corners. Each creature in the cloud is blinded and takes 11 fire damage. So let's see here. Fire blinded is, I think, level 2. So we would just have 22 damage there. And let's see, level 2. Yeah, blindness, deafness, perfect. 16 effective DPR. So I'm just gonna pop in the effective DPR instead of converting it, just for the time being. We would also have 2 targets poisoned for the first one. Or no, paralyzed. So that would incapacitate. That would be 11. So we're looking at an additional 22 damage there for 2 targets paralyzed. And then the third ability from the lair actions, we would say, let's see here. Strength saving throw would be pushed 20 feet away, take 10 cold damage. Covered in soap, fall prone, and the movement reduced by 20. Okay, so this one is just going to be 21 points of damage from that for 2 targets, which is not terrible at all. Nothing extra here. So I would probably end up bouncing back and forth between the first and second lair actions. And with that, we could just put this in as that one there. Yeah, okay, we'll just put that in there. And then we'll add that in here, so we would have that, and looks like at maximum we could see a CR 29, but let's take a quick look at this because we're looking at attacks, and everything's attacks, right? We're not really too worried. Yeah, because everything's claw attacks. Okay, so that works fine. So where is our attack bonus? 19, and we're expecting a 13. Okay, so 13 and 19 is minus each other, but that would 6, so that'd be plus 3. So technically the OCR is a 31, and 31 and 27, let's see, 27 is 58, and we'll take that, divide by 2, so we're, oh no. Yeah, all right, so we're looking at maximum a CR 29. Oh yes, dragons have to be underrated. It is just canon, or it's exactly how it's supposed to be for D&D here. Okay, so that is Mizutsune, the Monster Hunter 3 dragon conversion. At minimum, we would say probably 25, 26 with lair actions, and at maximum 28, 29. Fun. Okay, we had one more submission from Clorox. I don't know if Clorox is still in the channel or not. You're very welcome, Clawpaw. Thank you for submitting, as always. They are a pleasure to work with and a challenge to identify some of these more specialty traits and whatnot. So I do enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. So I can throw this at my players at level 7. Probably. Oh, excellent, Clorox. Thank you for hanging out. Let's see here. Encounter Builder. How many players do you have, Clawpaw? I think you said, what, like 7? Let's see here. We'll go with the 28 for what we initially found. Yes, okay, so you have 7 players. That is bonkers to me. So if we take our 7 players, at bare minimum, we would have a converted CR of 24.5. And that barely pushes us over into the deadly rating. Yeah, and see, exactly. They are scary. So that's why I'm saying at minimum they are 24, a combined total CR of 24.5. They're probably somewhere closer to probably 30 or 32, I want to say. So more than likely, this is a perfect solo monster for them to deal with. Even though the chart here is saying this is a deadly encounter, that's at bare base minimum without magical equipment and just using the skills they have. So more than likely with, at base 7 actions, who knows how many fighters or barbarians and anything else you have with double or triple attacks. You can get a monk with up to 3 attacks. Paladins, rangers could have possibly up to 2, 3 attacks depending on how they go. This would be a hard encounter for them for sure. So at CR 28, I would say no problem. If you can get them in their lair, CR 29 could be fun as well. With a dungeon beforehand. Ah, yes. See, if they're fresh, this would be good. But if they're not fresh, just a monk and double wield rogue. Okay. So you got a couple extra attacks. So you probably have, the monk has upwards of 3, maybe 4 attacks on their round, and the rogue has 2. So that would be, 9? So you're looking at potentially an action economy of 13 or 14 for your players against a dragon that can only make a few attacks that hit hard for sure. I'm sure your players could easily take that down in no time. All right, let's move on to the Infernal, which when I hear Infernal, I think World of Warcraft because I spent the majority of my 20s playing World of Warcraft from just before the Burning Crusade opened up, the first expansion. I was playing World of Warcraft close to the end of before their first expansion opened up. So, yeah, spent way too much time playing that game. Lots of fun though. I enjoyed it. But man, if I could do it again, I probably wouldn't. Do something else with my time. I have way too many backed up video games to play. Okay, let's take a look at this Infernal. A large fiend, a titan. I like that. I love thinking like titans. It's insane. It just makes me think of these massive beings. Okay. What we got? 20 AC. It's a large fiend, as suggested before. 34 D10 hit dice. And we have the following stats of 30, 23, 28, 21, 24, and 29. Oof. This is a beefy fiend here. Okay. We are looking at CR 26 with the following saving throws of Con, Wiz, and Charisma. So we have 3 there. We can pop in. Skipping past the skills, we don't worry about that. We have cold and fire damage resistance and a whole bunch of immunities. So we will go ahead and throw the immunities on, giving us an extra 25% hit points. And we'll skip down to the other items here. So we have regeneration. And that one is going to be worth, what? Let's see, 30 hit points at the start of each of its turns. Wow. If the Infernal takes damage from a magical silvered weapon, this trait doesn't function at the start of its next turn. Oof, that's a lot of hit points. Excuse me. Ill-fated meetings of gods and fiends. Very nuts and from the epic level handbook. Oh, cool. Again, I must remind people that are watching this now and later on that unfortunately I had a very short window of playing 3.5. And I may have played 2nd edition when I was a kid. I remember starting up some kind of an elf fighter mage. We played a couple times with my buddies when I was maybe 12. And then that was it. We played a couple times and never picked it back up, which was extremely disappointing. No, it must have been... No, I think it was 8. 8 or 10 probably. In any event. Moving past regeneration, we have divine resistance. Whenever the Infernal fails a saving throw, it can choose to succeed instead. Whenever this Infernal succeeds on the saving throw in this manner, it regains 2 less legendary reactions at the start of its next turn. Oh, interesting. Oh, that's cool. I like that. Okay, so for the time being, we will skip over Divine Resistance and come back to that if we need to. Let's see here. Learned Spell Immunity. Whenever the Infernal is subjected to the effects of a spell of first level or higher, cast by a particular spellcaster, the Infernal thereafter becomes immune to the effects of that spell when cast by the spellcaster. That's cute. So you get like one shot with it, and then it becomes immune. So we almost got like a Borg level mentality coming on. That's funny. I like that. How do we deal with that? I would say probably 1 AC. I think that would be a 1 effective AC because it gets hit first, takes the damage, and then after that, it can't take any more damage from that. Sir, how much do you hate casters? Stolen from Reddit, cannot take credit for Divine Resistance, sadly. Oh, that's okay. It's still a cool ability. I like it. Are you asking me, Clawpaw, or are you asking Clorox? So for Learn Spell Immunity, I'm going to say +1 effective AC. It may be higher or less depending on what spell was hit, but because of the randomness of this, it's hard to say. So for the time being, I'm just going to say 1 for the heck of it. Like I said, could be higher, could be 2, could be 5. Not entirely sure. Next, we have Titan. As a Titan, the infernal attacks are considered magical. Okay. It has advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. Okay, so that's magic resistance. And then we also have, let's see. It can't be changed. Its form can't be changed, and it can't be targeted by divination magic or be perceived through scrying sensors. Okay. Pretty straightforward. Nothing too big to worry about. We just get some magic resistance there, which is cool. Oh, the mortal person that created this. These things certainly hate casters, as to be further proven below. Oh yes, we will see in a moment. Spell Siphon. When the Infernal successfully hits a creature with its bite attack, the target loses one of its highest level spell slots if it has the ability to cast spells. So we have something kind of similar with the last dragon and this one. Except the other one was like level 1 spells or something. Or lowest level spell. If the target cannot cast spells or has been drained of all of its spell slots, it must make a con save, throw, or gain 1 level of exhaustion. Ooh, that is dirty. Yeah, wow, okay. Oh, yeah, that's a big one. Okay. Well, we are getting down into the action section. There's not much to do with Spell Siphon. I mean, I like the idea of it and drawing out the spells, which sadly doesn't help the monster out in any way besides getting rid of spell attacks, but it's still cool nonetheless. I would think it might do something else extra if it siphons off a spell, but whatever. That's neat. I couldn't have come up with that. Okay, let's take a look at the actions. Multi-attack. The Infernal makes 4 attacks, one with its bite, claws, wings, and its tail slam. The Infernal can replace one of these attacks with a use of spell casting so long as it isn't an at-will spell. Okay. So we have a plus 18 to hit. And being 26, that's 8 plus... let's see here. Oh, plus 10. Yeah, from the strength. Okay. Okay, so we have that there. So the bite will be 32. And the target is subjected to the Infernal Spell Siphon trait, so that we got that covered. I could see that, Clorox. Yeah, for sure. Just safer to use Spell Siphon. Okay. Tail Slam. That one is going to be 28 bludgeoning damage. And do we have anything extra on that? Nope, it just throws a person back 30 feet. Okay. Then we have Claw, and that will deal 24 slashing damage, and the target is bleeding. While bleeding, the infected creature loses 6 hit points at the start of each of its turns until it receives magical healing of 3rd level or higher. Sorry about that. I had to move my mic stand because I bumped it with my knee. Okay, so I will put the 6 to the side for the time being, and we will add that in because it's going to compound and be adding in more and more and more. So like round 1, it'll be, you know, 1 bleed effect, and then in round 2, it'll be 2 bleed effects, and then round 3, technically we could probably get up to 3 bleed effects, but it'll just be another 2 on top of what is already being done for damage. Ooh, excuse me. Okay, and then we have the wings, and the wings, let's see here, each creature within 20 feet makes a saving throw. Wow, these wings actually do more damage than the wing buffet from dragons. So that's 20 there times 2. Yeah, at 20 feet, we could easily say, sure, we could get 2 targets in there. And they're knocked prone, and okay, then the Infernal can move up to half its fly speed. Cool. All right, as always, because it has spell casting, I'm going to just look at this monster at its base without using any spells, unless there's some particularly important ones like shield or maybe invisibility or something. Let's see what we have for spells. We got Blur, Charm Person, Darkness, Dispel, Magic, Fear, Fireball, Greater Invis, Major Image, Scrying, Suggestion Symbol, Teleport. Fire Shield, Firestorm, Meteor Swarm, and Wall of Fire. Okay, so Fireball is definitely a big one. That's like 56 damage right off the bat. We got Meteor Swarm, which is 260, if I remember correctly. Let's see. That should be, is that? Yeah, Meteor Swarm is, oh, 280. Okay, 280 damage. One use of that. What level is, oh, shoot. All right, so that's 7th level. Okay. Let's see here. Firestorm. Firestorm is 77 damage, so we would probably skip over that. Fire Shield costs an action to set up, I believe. I think, out of all this, Meteor Swarm would probably be the only spell I would want to take into consideration, besides maybe Wall of Fire, since that's a concentration. Dealing 45 DPR. So we could set up Wall of Fire as well. But for sure, Meteor Swarm will be taken into consideration. Alright, let's look at that multi-attack, since we can do one of each. Okay. Let's not do that. And we'll jump down into legendary actions. We have 3 actions. So we can do a claw attack. We can do Vile Might for 2 actions and do a bite attack or use spellcasting and an Unholy Call. The Infernal recharges or uses its Summon Fiend action, which, oh, I totally skipped right over it. Okay, so as I stated before, Summon Fiend will just increase the encounter's deadliness or how hard the encounter is going to be, so we don't really worry about taking that into consideration for the sake of the CR. Okay, so we have 3 potential claw attacks, and the claw attack was what? The 3rd one down, so we can do that 3 times. And then let's see here, Vile Might. That was a bite attack, and the bite was the 1st one. So we would do that one, and then we would do a tail attack. All right, so 3 claw attacks is the better option here. Okay, so what would be the best combination here? Because we could indeed do Vile Might. We could do a spell casting, and we could say multi-attack plus a Meteor Swarm. That would be the worst combination right off the bat. Or we could set up, no, let's set up the Wall of Fire, actually, on top of that. So, we're going to say, for round 1, we can get our multi-attack in. Then we can set up a Wall of Fire, which is 45 DPR, and concentrate on that 45. And then on top of that, we can also do 1 more claw attack. So that's round 1. And then round 2, we will do the multi-attack again, plus we'll cast a Meteor Swarm for 280, plus 45 for the for the Wall of Fire, provided there's still 2 targets being affected by that, which we hope and we consider is actually happening. Yeah, for sure, because that Meteor Strike, as we're already seeing here, is really ramping up that damage. We'll take that out in a minute, but as it's printed, let's go with what we have here. Now we know, definitely want to do at-will spells. And then let's see, what else? And then round 3 would probably be the multi-attack again. Oh wait, hold on. 45. We had the multi-attack, Fire Swarm, 45 from that, plus the additional claw attack. And then we have basically the same, similar round. So we'll do the multi-attack, plus we would do that, and 45 damage from the Wall of Fire. Honk honk. This is Clorox's conversion of the Infernal from D&D 3.5, was it, Clorox? And no problem. Yeah, it's just, it's in the, submitted in the Discord, so if you want to check it out there, it's there as well. But, yeah, conversion that, Clorox was working on. Okay, so currently we are capped at CR 30 for this monster. And with how much damage it's doing. So let's see here. We have a base of a OCR 29 with a bonus. Oh no, we would want to switch this because we are doing a lot of fire damage. So let's switch this to DC 25 and go from that. Okay, still capped at 30. So here we're looking at a 22. We have a 25. That's 3 over plus 1. Okay, so the OCR is definitely capped at 30. And then the DCR is expecting a 19. We have 25, so that's 6 over. 1, 2, 3. Sure enough. Okay, so we have a perfectly set DCR 30 Pit Fiend here. So a little over the challenge rating, which isn't terrible. I would apply the adjustments to hit dice and at-will spells for Vile Might and see how it works after that. Oh, for sure. And yes, 3.5 for understand was pretty hard. Not to mention all the modifiers and whatnot that you had to remember. Good lord, so many modifiers. Okay, so then let's bump this back a bit. Let's clear this out and take a look at the adjustments here for what you're suggesting, Clorox. Adjustments to the hit dice. We'll keep the hit dice at where it is for now. And let's just take a look at adjusting, but just 27. Exactly, Clawpaw. Let's look at these with at-will spells only for the spell casting. So in round 1, that would be pretty much the same. We would set this up, do 45 damage from the Wall of Fire, and then we would do an additional 24 points of damage there. So that should be the multi-attack, casting the Wall of Fire to concentrate on, and then the extra claw. And then round 2, we would do 280 for our actual attack from the Meteor Swarm, plus 45 for the Wall of Fire, and then 1 more claw attack there. And then round 3 would be the multi-attack, plus, we'll say, let's do a Fireball, since that's part of the innate spells that he can use, or the at-will spells. So we would do a Fireball for 56, plus 45 for the Wall of Fire, plus an additional multi-attack here, or not multi-attack, claw attack. So moving Meteor Swarm out of the at-will spells, or moving it out from the Vile Might, just drops it down to 29, which is really kind of surprising that we have just a small reduction there. And let's see here. If we get rid of immunities, if our immunities are bypassed, that drops it down to a 28. Wall of Fire is a concentration spell, though, and that's why I keep adding it in, because we cast it, and in theory we cast it in such a way that two players or two failed saves of damage are being affected every round of combat. That's why I keep adding it in Clorox, because of the whole concentration thing. Yeah, definitely not a recast for sure. Oh, right. Yeah. I'm seeing what you're saying there. We couldn't do it. My bad. It's getting late. I'm tired. Okay. Yeah, we couldn't do that. Okay. We couldn't do that there. Okay, so what would we do instead? So if we nix the 45, because we're no longer able to do that way. Okay. Wow. Right. Okay, so then we need to add in, let's put in another fireball for 56 there. Yeah, definitely complex, especially when I'm starting to fall asleep. Okay, so with the adjustment of actually getting rid of the, did I get this right? Let me see here. Multi-attack, fireball, and a claw attack. Yeah, we're looking at a CR 29. So 3 over for the monster, for the Infernal, which is not terrible. This is still a great monster. And how you put it together, it's fantastic, Clorox. Thank you for sharing this. So good. Such a good monster. If I wanted to drop it down, what would I do to drop it down? Let's see here. If we take out spellcasting altogether for that, let's see what happens if we remove that. And say this here. And then what is this one? Oh, right, okay. Oh, yeah, no, I would be going to this. Okay. 29. Yeah, it's still, even if we skip the spell casting and go into this here, we're not seeing too terribly much of a difference. Okay, so at the moment I'm going to say, we have a CR 29 and probably 28 without immunities. Okay, so we have that, and then on top of that we also have the whole idea of the divine resistance here. So we could potentially have, legendary resistances, and we could have upwards of 1. So if we get rid of some of the legendary resistance, we could do that a little bit. Let's see what happens here. If we do that, we lose the ability to really go ham on that. So what would be the best option? Just 1 claw attack? What was it? Oh, that's right. It would be that and that. Okay. So if we only have 1 action, so then it would be one claw attack. So let's see here. This, and then that. And we would say we are using that stuff to give us basically one legendary resistance here. What do we have? Okay, so we have a CR 28 and then probably 27 with bypass resistances or immunities. Okay, so that's cool. Looking at that divine resistance as well, giving us like 1 legendary resistance every round, which is neat. I like that. So, thank you all. It is now 11 o'clock, and it is time for me to do my night chores and get my butt to bed. Thank you, Clawpaw and Clorox, for submitting your custom monsters and converted monsters of Mizutsune from Monster Hunter 3 and the Infernal from the, what was it, Epic Monsters from 3.5? Yes, the Epic Level Handbook. Certainly an epic level monster here as well to be added in. I like it. Both these monsters are excellent. Thank you for sharing those with us, guys. And it was a lot of fun. Okay, let me pop this into the ending. We are now ending the stream. Sadly, the stream is now offline. Thank you, everyone, for showing up for the live stream and the adjusted time on Fridays. It was a lot of fun. Clorox, Clawpaw, Honk Honk, and who else was here with us? I think that was it, really. Clorox, Honk, and Clawpaw, yeah. Thank you guys for joining me tonight as we looked over 2 custom monsters from you awesome viewers. And this is me, Andrew, asking the question, are your encounters even rated? Thanks for joining me tonight, guys. Great stream as always. Yes, exactly, Clawpaw. You guys have been awesome. Anyone that watches the live stream to this end point, thank you. You've been very awesome as well. And I will see you all next Friday. Have a good night, everyone, and enjoy the weekend.